From leaps in pancreatic treatment to new ways to shift that mucus, you name it, it couldn't have happened without clinical trials. So, with a quick thank you to all the researchers and people who've ever been part of one, we're looking at 5 treatments that went on to transform the face of CF care. 1. Creon. That's right, the enzyme tablets that go with every meal. Many of you will remember when capsules weren't available and the drug was sprinkled straight onto food. Smelled awful, tasted even worse, the enzyme in capsule form first arrived in the 70s. But it wasn't until the mid-80s that the technology improved so that the throat and esophagus were protected from the burning action of the enzyme until it was safely inside the stomach. Fast forward to the 90s and a trial for Creon 10,000 looked into reducing the number of capsules required at a time and improving its coating construction even more. Jamie volunteered to take part when he was in paediatric care.
I noticed some benefits from taking part in the trial, certainly with my health. I was more compliant with my treatment regime. And actually it's not just the Creon I was more compliant with taking, but it just made me more mindful of all of my medications.
2. Tobramycin. Primarily developed to fight bacterial infections, Tobramycin was first found to treat Pseudomonas during a study at the Royal Hospital for Sick Children in Edinburgh in 1976. By the 80s, it was regularly being administered in IV form, then in nebulizers soon after. The UK CF Registry's last count found that 1,500 people were using Tobramycin for Pseudomonas in one form or another. Dr. Alan Smith looked into cutting the conventional 3 treatments a day to 1 and reducing some of the potential side effects, such as a loss of hearing.
So without good clinical trials and good clinical research, I don't know whether treatment A is better than treatment B. So where I don't know, I'm quite happy to be open with patients and families about that, because I think that illustrates the importance of clinical trials and increases awareness and enthusiasm for them.
3. Ciprofloxacin. Originally treating problems with ear infections, urinary tract infections, and a very specific type of diarrhea, it was discovered ciprofloxacin was helpful for some CF-related symptoms too. First introduced for CF treatment in 1986, trials showed this Swiss Army knife of antibiotics was especially effective on staphylococcal and pseudomonal infections. In fact, a trial in Copenhagen a few years later confirmed that ciprofloxacin, taken orally with colimicin, was fantastic for reducing or delaying the initial Pseudomonas infection in 80% of people with CF. 4. Airway clearance techniques. As far back as the early 1950s, postural drainage, where someone would sit or lie in a certain way to drain fluid from the lungs, had been a traditional physiotherapy treatment for CF. The famous percussion technique arrived a little later, and to this day, cupped patting of the back of someone with CF is probably the #1 mental image someone new to the condition gets. But with the introduction of new devices like the Flutter, Acapella and PEP masks in the 80s and a landmark study in the 90s, more traditional physio techniques were questioned. The real criticism, though, was saved for postural drainage. Studies found that it was causing gastrointestinal reflux and even had a negative effect on lung function. Today, most physios suggest using a range of treatments, devices and techniques, and whatever else works for that individual person. 5. Kalidaco. Kalidaco is the first medicine for CF on the NHS that treats the underlying cause of the condition instead of combating the symptoms. It's also the first medicine of its type that works on gating mutations, affecting around 5% of people with CF in the UK. If you're interested in learning more about clinical trials and CF research, watch more, click subscribe or visit the Cystic Fibrosis Trust website.